If I had to sum up today's entire video in a single word, it would be understandable. People on TikTok are flirting with the idea of marrying each other solely for financial benefit, and I kind of understand where they're coming from. Lavender Marriages have re-entered the chat. And if you're familiar with the term, it used to mean one thing, but Gen Z has sort of rediscovered the concept and they're embracing it in a completely different way. And it's raising some interesting questions like, what is a relationship? What does marriage even mean? And most importantly, will you marry me? But first, welcome. My name is D'Angelo, and I am your professor of aerial matrimony, which is a very real degree that I definitely do have. Or maybe this is just me broadcasting myself talking in my room like YouTube used to be. And in today's lecture, it's a small topic, but I think it's a really intriguing question. Would you marry somebody you didn't love just to make your life easier? It's a question I was seriously asking myself after I saw this article from Business Insider. For Gen Zers tired of dating, lavender marriages are looking more appealing. So I remember the term lavender marriage being used in a really specific context. Basically, before gay marriage was legalized, and moreover, before gay relationships were acceptable at all, some men and women would marry each other knowing full well that one of the partners was gay, and so it was a way to avoid the social stigma of being single or being out, etc. Wikipedia says the term is usually used to refer to 20th century celebrity marriages, primarily before World War II, when public attitudes made it impossible to acknowledge homosexuality, etc. Obviously, this isn't something anyone should have to do, but it makes sense within the framework at the time. And as Wikipedia says, although lavender marriages are typically associated with LGBTQ celebrities, people of all backgrounds have used them for protection and convenience. And so that's what this Business Insider article is getting into. For many people right now, the dating scene is rough, their families are far away, and housing is expensive. To share the load, some have become intrigued by the concept of lavender marriages, something that was once the preserve of the LGBT community. I'm gonna be real with you, the dating scene is rough and housing is expensive have to be the understatements of the century. I don't know what's more impossible at this point. The idea that someone is supposed to afford a house on an average salary, or the idea that you're supposed to find a good partner via online dating. If you have managed either of these, more power to you, but I get where people are coming from. So the term lavender marriages has been appropriated by some Gen Zers who are tired of being broke, single, and lonely. Now, the article does a good job of pointing out this isn't exactly like a trend. It's unclear how many of these marriages are taking place, but at least on TikTok, it has captured the imagination of Zoomers. It's more of a conversation than anything. It's kind of like the man versus bear question, which, by the way, can I just say people who get mad at women for choosing the bear are really missing the forest for the trees, no pun intended. Personally, I would choose the bear over a person because why did you follow me into the forest? I feel like if I'm gonna die in the forest, which just sounds terrifying either way, I would rather at least be bear food than, I don't know, at the whims of some crazy forest person. But anyways, Robbie Scott, a TikToker and musician, posted a video asking for applications for a lavender marriage because he wanted to live with someone to afford mortgage payments, utilities, and taxes.
This video right here is only for the girls, or like anyone who doesn't identify as a man. I am currently taking applications for a lavender marriage. I am not joking.
And the girls showed up with over 47,000 comments.
All you have to do is marry me so that I can afford to pay a mortgage, utilities, and taxes. That's it. You can mess around with whoever you want, whenever you want. I don't care. In fact, I encourage it. Have fun.
Honestly, Robbie wasn't asking for much, and I don't really feel like he was asking for anything unreasonable.
All I ask is that when that monthly payment comes due, you are showing up with your half. And all I ask is that you be on time with those payments because reliability is very important to me.
I wasted my marriage on love, but this is an idea. I have my half. I just want to be left alone and get a tax write-off, and we can bake treats and then make mood boards. Or as this person says, okay, like we need a lavender marriage app, not dating apps. And I have to agree, literally anything would be better than online dating at this point. All the tech bros out here trying to do their AI stuff that nobody asked for, do this instead. This is what people actually want. Here, I'll give you some free branding right now. You can call it like lavender. No vowels. It does kind of look like lander, but then that's great too, because you can land some great people. But yeah, at this point, at my big age of 26, this is 1,000 times more appealing to me than Tinder. And jokes aside, even though I am really, really not joking, this person says, why do I think this kind of arrangement is going to be more and more common as time goes on? And this is why I found this also fascinating. It's like an old thing cycling back as a less tragic version. Like you can love whoever you want to love. Thankfully, legally, any man could marry a man if he so chose, but you know, why sort through all of those when you could just speed it up a little bit? I don't know, it's kind of radical, but again, I'm picking up what he's laying down, and so were a lot of people in the comments. So Business Insider kind of points out that legally binding marriages have multiple benefits, not just dual income, because I mean, you don't have to get married to do that, but parental rights, healthcare coverage, tax breaks, inheritance rights, etc. They asked a gender and sexuality expert, and he said people can do it in case one or both partners don't have family or have gotten no contact, and their lavender spouse becomes not only their best friend, but a legal family member. And honestly, a legal family member who has the same interests and goals is invaluable. But the article also points out it doesn't even always have to be that serious. The modern version of a lavender marriage could also simply be an agreement between two people to live their lives like a married couple without the sex. So we're now kind of talking about a different thing here, which is this idea of like an aromantic relationship. A union with commitment, love, and loyalty, and all of these can be not romantic. This can definitely be a choice, but for some people it's not even a choice. They just straight up identify as aromantic or asexual. But what I feel like some people don't realize is just because you are aro or ace doesn't mean you have to be single or even want to be. And there are plenty of people who actually live exactly like this, where maybe sex is not part of their relationship or romance is not part of their relationship, but they're still in a relationship. I think relationships like that are so underrepresented in media to the point where it would probably confuse most people were they to see it. But again, it's very real. But I guess that's the sort of more committed version of a lavender marriage. It really can just be because at the end of the day, bills have to be paid. It's a way to ease financial stress while still being independent. The article then kind of presents relationships like this as an answer to a lack of physical touch. They ask relationship therapist Sophie Ruse, who says that could mean cuddling in front of a TV show or when reading a book, sleeping together and providing physical support and safety when needed. Just as in every marriage, you feel safe with the person. Even though no attraction is involved, you can gain much more from being physically close to your lavender married partner than being close to a friend or to a one-night stand. And that's how I know everybody's different, because that part, not for me. Nope. I am so very averse to being touched. I can't really tell you why. It's just me. But that's also why it's important to establish boundaries ahead of time. Cuddling together to watch Netflix is not what I would be doing in a lavender marriage, so to speak. But that's just me. That's what I would put in my application. This is why I find this topic so fun. You can put whatever you want in your application, because really this is about taking the rules of what you should or should not do and not applying them just slapdash to everybody who ever gets married, but rather saying, hey, a marriage can look like whatever it looks like, and it's only up to the people involved. Business Insider then says the conversation around lavender marriages hints at more serious societal issues. And it talks about how dating apps like Bumble are falling massively in valuation, possibly because Gen Zers are just totally done with this whole concept. The apps now miss the point of what made them fun in the first place, going after profits rather than real connections. Others are tired of modern dating culture with ghosting and catfishing, etc. I personally have always been a fan of reverse catfishing, where I take a picture where I look, I guess, kind of okay, and then I show up and it's like, wow, that picture did not do you justice. And I'm like, oh my God, really? I had no idea. Thank you. I'm crazy. Don't date me, please. Insider then talks to another creator, Cleopatra, who says what's appealing to her is the community aspect, where women can live without fear of being hurt or abused. I think the majority want change. This patriarchal lifestyle, these gender roles are becoming exhausting to say the least. The dating pool is certainly full of it, she says. I think this kind of brings up something that the article doesn't even get into, which is like, I don't really see why these have to be like hetero relationships. Who's to say two straight women can't just marry each other if they want to? Again, I know that is totally kind of flying in the face of the idea of marriage, but it is literally 2024. Anyway, the article reminds us that Gen Z is spending 31% more on housing costs compared to what millennials paid 10 years ago. Which is great. And that's factoring in inflation. Insurance costs are peaking, spiking, and this is leading people to consider inflationships, living in the same place and even sleeping in the same bed without having sex. Lavender marriages could just be furthering this trend. I will say this though, this is very much like not fixing the problem. It's a reaction to the problem. It's not anybody's fault that it's hard to afford things when you're a single young person. I mean, it's a lot of people's fault, but it's not single young people's fault. But fixing that, I think, would be a lot better in the long term than people having to unironically consider marrying each other for financial convenience. But in the interim, until we address that, which is never going to happen, I see where people are coming from. The article then kind of touches on downsides a little bit, challenges as it says. It says, while people are more commonly discovering that they're aro or ace and just moving away from heteronormativity in general, emotional complexities can arise from such entanglements, adding that open communication about boundaries and feelings is vital for the arrangement to work. And I mean, on the one hand, yeah, that's true, but I couldn't really see it being more emotionally complex than a traditional marriage. Regardless of who is marrying whom and for why, y'all need to work out the boundaries ahead of time. The rules of a lavender marriage may be vague, meaning there could be potential for conflict later. Nah, nip it in the bud. Partners may disagree on what is or isn't allowed outside the relationship and have different ideas of what defines cheating. I feel like this doesn't even have to actually be a problem if you just write it down ahead of time. Again, for me and this perfect marriage I'm envisioning, there would be no way to cheat on me because we're not romantically involved at all. But if you're looking for maybe more than just actual tangible benefits, this is totally the kind of thing that you talk about beforehand. And that doesn't even have to apply to marriage. Now I'm just giving basic relationship advice that nobody asked for. Do you know how many people are like, oh yeah, it turns out they didn't want kids? Did y'all discuss this? Now, I'm not talking about some people lie and they say they want kids and then they don't, whatever. But I have literally witnessed in my real life some people avoid talking about the most important relationship things before diving headfirst into a relationship. And y'all, I can't. It could never be me. So yeah, be smart is what I would have written here. Relationships are hard. We know. Lavender marriages can have their own pitfalls, triggering jealousy and sadness if one partner starts feeling left out. It also kind of talks about what happens if your relationship changes, such as if one person decides to pursue a romantic relationship. What felt okay when talking things through before or at the beginning of the marriage might therefore later not feel okay at all. It's important to remember that no relationship, including a lavender marriage, is immune to heartache. And to that, I just say, let me have this, bro. Please, just let me have this. I don't think Gen Z is actually marrying each other without thinking about it. In fact, that was more so a problem before, when society made it seem like you had to marry somebody or you would actually die. But really, I have to reiterate, this is more so just a conversation. It's like a thought experiment. I think it's really easy to say like everyone should learn how to be single and love themselves. But I won't lie, sometimes I wonder if this was all taken a little too far, because this general loneliness that seems to pervade everywhere, despite the fact that we're more connected than ever, I can't really blame anybody for fantasizing about ways out of it. And unfortunately, the economy is not a fantasy. But yeah, my ultimate verdict is I understand the financial perspective for sure. It's not what I'm looking for in the emotional department by any means, but it still makes sense. And it's interesting to see how ideas evolve with society's evolution. And so I guess I'll just kind of wrap it up by kicking the question to you. Is this something you would try? I don't mean like uproot your entire life as it is, but theoretically, is this something you're open to? And I guess what exactly would you be looking for out of it? Again, it all differs for every person. And I think that's why it's a great question. But that's my take on the situation. Dave's take is he's completely in favor of this. And actually, he is putting out applications of his own. So I guess the real question is, would you marry Dave? And I'm of course excited to hear your take. I mean, this is the part of the video where a layman would ask you to subscribe, like the video, and leave a comment. But I will ask you to enroll, evaluate the video, and submit your feedback. Because I am of course running a 100% completely, totally, all the way, okay, maybe not really, somewhat unaccredited university. Probably. Just ask anybody in the student body and they'll confirm it for you. We're totally legit. And as for me, whether you'll see me in 24 hours or 24 months is honestly anyone's guess, but until then, thanks for watching. Your homework for today is to marry yourself. I wish that was possible. I would reap all the benefits, problem solved.